Hello and welcome to Car and Bike. The big news from the motorcycling world this week is, of course, that the BSA Gold Star 650, the new BSA Gold Star 650, will be introduced in India on 15th of August 2024 on Independence Day. It's, of course, a British brand, but acquired by Classic Legends, a subsidiary of the Mahindra Group. And we're not sure so far, is it going to be a launch? Will there be a price announcement? But we know for sure that the bike will be unveiled, it will be introduced, the brand will be introduced, and we'll get you a close look of the bike.
So of course we've seen the Java brand, we've seen the SD brand, and now finally it's time to meet the BSA brand. And this is, it's an iconic name, right? It's been around for more than a century, almost 2 centuries. This company that began in 1860s. That's how old BSA is.
Right.
And from there till here, it's been quite some journey of this brand. You know, they've made bicycles, ammunitions, cars, and of course motorcycles. And there's a small chance that somebody in our family or circle could have ridden the BSA in the previous century.
Of course. In the 60s and 70s, I know uncles in my family who are motorcyclists have talked about Triumphs, have talked about BSAs, which are very much here in India, on Indian roads. And of course, I'm talking about the 60s and the 70s. And they very fondly talk about the Triumphs and the BSA motorcycles of that era, in line with the Royal Enfield, of course, in that era. Royal Enfield has, of course, continued producing motorcycles from the 50s to right now in India. And although the British company has ceased to exist, it's now a completely Indian company. But the BSA brand is, of course, a storied brand in the world of motorcycles. And like you mentioned, 1910 onwards, I think they started making motorcycles. The name of the brand is Birmingham Small Arms Company. And at one time, BSA was so popular that 1/4 of all motorcycles sold globally in the post-war period in the 50s. So 1 in every 4 motorcycles sold across the world was a BSA.
Wow, that's quite some number.
Yeah. And a little bit of trivia, even Triumph was acquired by BSA in the 1950s.
Now in 2024, what do we expect from this brand new motorcycle that's coming to India soon?
Well, it's a big single to start off with. It's a thumper.
It's a big single.
So those of you who've been familiar with the Royal Enfield 350s and the erstwhile 500cc, you've ridden Royal Enfields, where I've ridden Royal Enfields a lot. So the BSA Gold Star 650, the Gold Star incidentally is the most popular model from the BSA brand, is regarded as one of the, if you remember back in the 90s when you were sort of tinkering with her Enfields, there used to be a aftermarket exhaust which used to come for the Royal Enfields, which was called a Gold Star silencer.
Oh wow.
That's the shape of the silencer which was taken from the BSA Gold Star. You'd get it in places like Karol Bagh where we used to get our bikes, aftermarket. We used to restore our old vintage classic Royal Enfields. So that Gold Star exhaust was actually taken from the BSA Gold Star 650 of that era.
So tell me, we see that you have 650cc twins from Royal Enfield that are sold in the market. Now you'll have a single cylinder motorcycle in the same capacity. How much difference will it be between these two bikes?
I suspect there'll be a lot of difference in terms of performance. A single is a single and a twin is a twin. And a parallel twin, the Royal Enfield Interceptor 650 parallel twin, we're all very familiar with. It's a very smooth and refined engine. The single, I suspect, will be a very torquey engine. Of course, the specs also seems to point in that direction. But being a single, there will be a certain amount of vibes that you can expect. So the idea, I think, behind it is to stay close to the original BSA as far as possible with that 650cc big block. I don't think too many motorcycles use a big 650 big single anymore. KTM's used to do it 640s, 650, 690s, I think, earlier in the day, about 10-15 years ago. But I think this is one of the biggest singles currently in production, the BSA 650cc single.
Right.
So yeah, performance is going to be different, but the nature of the engine is also going to be different.
I'm sure. But that is one aspect. The other aspect, of course, is design. It will take you back in time on how the way the bike's been designed and how it looks.
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at, I've only seen pictures. If you look at the old Gold Star and the new Gold Star, they look so similar, it's difficult to figure out which one is which.
Right.
I think design is one aspect of the new BSA Gold Star 650 that you have to...
What are those 2-3 big highlights for you when it comes to design of a motorcycle like the Gold Star?
Well, the teardrop shaped tank. The fins on the engine, of course, it's a liquid cool engine, but the classic fins, like we've seen in the Triumphs also, where you have the fins, the air cooled fins, but it's a liquid cool engine. And the way the crankcases are designed, it looks like the old BSAs of the 650. So I think where credit is due, it needs to be given. The design of the bike overall, the engine, the finishes of the crankcases has stayed true to the old BSA Gold Star. So I think for anyone who likes classic motorcycles, the new Gold Star 650 shouldn't disappoint. That kind of design it has.
All right. And what else do we know about the bike that's going to be unveiled soon?
Yeah, so 650cc single, that single is not all new. All new in the sense it's been re-engineered and a lot of new tech has been introduced in it. But little bit of trivia, that engine is by a company called Rotax, and that engine was used in a BMW motorcycle which used to be on sale in the 1990s in India called a BMW F650 Funduro.
All right.
If you remember that adventure bike.
Yes, of course.
Hero had marketed that bike.
Wow.
Yeah.
Again, too many brands.
So that F650 Funduro had the same Rotax engine. Of course, the basic architecture is the same, but this has been completely re-engineered for today's conditions.
Right.
Today's emission norms, NVH levels.
Of course.
So the basic architecture is the same Rotax 650cc single from back then, but it's been re-engineered completely.
And what's your sense? Will it be like you've seen a lot of motorcycles of late, very tech heavy, too many features, connectivity features. What's your sense with something like?
I have a sense, I already know for a fact that this one is not going to be loaded with gizmos. It's as pure as motorcycling. Some of us still like our motorcycles pure, and that's what BSA intends to do with the 650, Gold Star 650. It stays true to its purity. So bare basic necessity, what you get, dual channel ABS, that's all you get.
Yeah.
That's all that there's to it. There's nothing else. So telescopic front forks, twin shocks at the rear. Again, very
nice,
very classic vintage kind of look. If you put a monoshock there, it'll ruin the design in my opinion.
Correct.
But bare bones in today's standards, if you look at it, even a 300cc motorcycle has got a lot of gizmos now, a Roadster, modern Roadster. So bare bones in that context, but yeah, stays true to the classic lineage of the BSA, which is a good thing, I suppose.
So 3 brands from Classic Legends, all have very clear target zones. Nobody's getting into each other's territory, right? That's how these motorcycles are now.
Java and ESD more or less are overlapping in terms of the domestic market, so to speak. Right. ESD is not known so much outside. Java and ESD in the domestic market are slightly overlapping each other, but BSA is going to be a different ballgame altogether. And in terms of target audience, in India, it will still need a little bit of brand building, especially for the new generation. Old people like us, or maybe even older than us, know the BSA brand. But the BSA brand will be Classic Legends global.
And like how we saw with Java or even ESD, they started with 3 bikes with Java, 3 bikes with ESD. This one is sort of different. Only one bike will be the center of attraction, right?
The Gold Star to start off with, but I won't be surprised if there are going to be more models based on the same platform. That's the formula that everybody follows. If you have a good enough platform, why not make more models out of it, right? So there could be a Scrambler coming forward. There could be something else on that same platform.
Right.
Like the 650 twins from Royal Enfield, they have a Continental GT, they have an Interceptor 650, they have a Super Meteor
now
Cruiser.
Now there's a Super Meteor as well, yeah, correct. So there's lots. Yeah, it doesn't make sense for the brand to stick to just one motorcycle, right? There will be more for sure. Yeah. So, I mean, getting towards the end of this conversation, what's your sense of which part of, I mean, in terms of pricing, where will this bike be placed? You know, will it be closer to the double cylinder motor Royal Enfield, closer to the single cylinders from Java or ESD? Where do you think it will be placed?
Pricing will be key to the BSA Goldstar 650 success, particularly in India.
Right.
Abroad, in Europe, there's still a lot of nostalgia-laden motorcyclists who'll go for the BSA just for the brand and the nostalgia that the Goldstar carries with it. In India, there'll always be discussions, there's always be chatter on social media. Why not a parallel twin? Why should I go for a single?
Right.
All that, there'll be a lot of discussion going forward. I'm sure about it. We'll see. But at the end of the day, I think pricing will play a very crucial part in the Goldstar's success. And I think it will be priced, if it is priced between 3.5 lakhs, it's a winner for sure. There will be takers. And the brand has been always upfront about it. They don't want to mass market. They don't want to have many volumes. They want a small slice of the pie. They're happy with it. They just want to do justice to the brand. I think that's the core intention. And intention is good. That's what pure motorcycling is all about. I think the intention is good. If they can do justice to the brand, justice to the model, justice to the lineage of the model, I think more than half the battle is won.
Right. Thank you so much for that conversation, Preetham. So those are some key details about the upcoming BSA Gold Star 650. Like us, are you also looking forward to this brand new single cylinder motorcycle? Do let us know in the comments below.
August 15th is when the bike will be unveiled here in India. We'll bring you a close look and talk about how it looks. Perhaps maybe even get to ride it over the next few months. Who knows? So keep watching Carandbike. And if you do ride a motorcycle, always wear a helmet and strap it on tight. Thank you.